The media asked Gregg Popovich about Kawhi Leonard, and Popovich answered this. He said that Kawhi Leonard was never really the true leader of the team. Generally, Manu Ginobili and Patty Mills took over the leadership roles, and moreover, LaMarcus Aldridge has grown more into a leader. Kawhi Leonard, of course, responded to this, saying that he found it funny. He said, obviously, you're not considered a leader when you're no longer playing for a team. But he said he wasn't really worried about it, and he just focused on the Raptors and what he has going on their side. Now, I hope that this was not an intentional dig or a message trying to be sent across the aisle, across the conference to Kawhi Leonard saying that the reason you left was that you're not a true leader. But Gregg Popovich has a point in that Kawhi Leonard wasn't a leader, but it wasn't because he can't be a leader. It's due to the fact that he wasn't allowed to lead, and he had other circumstances that came into play. So in that circumstance, you can say, okay, hey, he wasn't a leader, but how can you be a leader when you're dealing with a coach like Gregg Popovich who rules his team with an iron fist, who he will not accept leadership if it's not done his way? Manu Ginobili actually had to come in, intervene a lot of times between Gregg Popovich and Kawhi Leonard, especially in Kawhi Leonard's earlier years when he would make a mistake. Gregg Popovich wanted to get on him like 100% and say, you don't do this. This is not San Antonio way. This is not San Antonio basketball. So how do you want him to lead if he may have a different leadership style, but you don't accept different leadership styles? In that sense of regard, he can be a leader if he's dealing with a strong head coach who will not accept nothing but what he wants. Number two, you got to look at it like this. Kawhi Leonard came onto the Spurs with Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan. All veterans, won multiple championships. How do you expect him to be a leader amongst those men? He has to learn from those men how to lead first, and then he could become a leader, and he could know what the proper way is to do something and to play basketball. So he's not going to be able to lead in that regard in the sense of seniority or playoff experience or championship experience because he's playing with the best. He already came into the league playing with the best. So that's not his fault necessarily. But I can tell you ways that Kawhi Leonard is a leader. He led the team defensively. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, won the NBA Finals MVP in 2014. Why? Because he was doing a great job in stopping LeBron James, slowing him down, at times locking him up, forcing things to be 100% hard for LeBron. So defensively, Kawhi Leonard was a great leader. Even if you remember in the Western Conference Finals a couple years back, how his presence on the Spurs allowed them to have a 20-point lead on the Warriors, and they were locking the Warriors up. So leadership-wise, defensively, he's a great leader. Then another leadership quality that Kawhi Leonard has, he doesn't really discuss business in public. He was never really one of those irate stars or one of those stars with a big mouth saying, hey, I'm not happy with the organization. This is what they need to do. They need to pay me this, XYZ. They need to stop treating me like this, XYZ. Even during his free agency, he wasn't the one doing all the talking. It was his uncle. It was people from his camp. Kawhi never spoke. So that shows you that kind of leadership and keeping house business in the house, not spewing all your fun facts and your rumor mills and going into great detail. Kawhi Leonard always kept a tight-lipped on things. He's very private. And that is a leadership role because a team could be in turmoil, but if the star players aren't speaking out about it or, for example, doing Draymond Green things, conduct detrimental, then, that allows you to keep your team intact and allows you to fix things that are in the periphery that need to be fixed. So right then and there, two leadership qualities right off the bat. Then a third leadership quality that Kawhi Leonard has that a lot of people don't speak of really, he played his role to a T. The Spurs needed him to be a defender. He did that. They needed him to be a knockdown shooter. He did that. He's the he's the first actually star role player. Because he was a star on the Spurs because, he won the Finals MVP. He was essentially ascending to be their best player. But he was one of their best role players. He did everything asked of him. Defending, rebounding, scoring at times, being the playmaker before he got injured. So he did everything that was asked of him and more. And he played the ultimate role. He's, like I said, a star/role player. So in that regard, you can't say that he wasn't a leader. So I already gave you 3 leadership qualities for Kawhi Leonard. Defensively leading the team, playing his role, and also being a leader in terms of not causing chaos, not really speaking about a personal business out in the media, stirring the pot. What he did in terms of his injury and everything like that, he never said a word. He just did what he had to do, what he felt he had to do. But here's the thing that a lot of people might misconstrue or not question the Spurs about. If Kawhi wasn't a leader, we could see why you would say that, but also we could see why you would say he is a leader. The Spurs lost Kawhi Leonard. Is that showing a failure of leadership by the Spurs? People don't really question that. Some people feel like they misdiagnosed his injury. They feel that they mishandled the whole Kawhi-Pop relationship. So doesn't that show a failure of leadership by Pop himself? So as a leader, he has to question himself and see, hey, did I make a mistake? Because I feel that he made a huge mistake, and that's why Kawhi Leonard left the team. The Spurs organization, Coach Pop, the people that are questioning Kawhi's leadership, they really need to start questioning their own leadership and saying, did I have something to do with what happened with Kawhi Leonard leaving? Did I have something to do with his rehabbing habits? Did I have something to do with his camp going all gung-ho against us? Organization that I felt that we were doing the best thing for Kawhi. So, in that sense, the Spurs showed a lack of leadership there. And that's something that nobody will ever want to address because, of course, the Spurs are a first-class organization. But even for first-class organizations at times, leaders make mistakes. So I feel that Popovich saying that Kawhi was never really the leader of the team. I understand vocally he might not have been a leader, but there are a lot of things that he did on and off the court that showed great leadership. So for this to come out, like Kawhi said, it really is kind of funny, but at the same time, it's kind of sad at the same time. And also, it makes you question the Spurs leadership because maybe some things could have been done to avoid Kawhi Leonard being on the Raptors. Hoops Junction, Hoops meets Hoopla. Like, comment, and subscribe.